So if you can tell me your name.
Dr. Patricia Marino.
And your PhD is in what?
Educational leadership. My specialization is in educational cultures.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit more about what that means?
Educational cultures means that I have an educational background, and I chose to focus my study on coaching model used to improve teaching practices. So my perspective is primarily from that of an educator.
And what age group did you work with?
I was secondary level, although I also did pre-service training I was in a professional practice school, so I trained a number of people coming into the profession, and then I coached for more 10 years teachers in the practice of teaching, and I also have coached teachers who were pursuing national board certification.
Tell me a little bit about your doctoral research.
Well, my focus participation group was specialist teachers. And in Rochester, these are individuals who have been pulled out of the classroom primarily because they have exemplary teaching reputations. And so they're pulled out to be full-time coaches. They call them specialist teachers because they don't just coach, they do other things as well. They monitor teacher assessments and things like that, but they do a lot of professional development and receive intense and a lot of training to coach because it helps them to do their jobs.
How has the school system learned the value of this? What did it take?
Well, what I found from my study was that it says right in the policy documents that coaching is like the linchpin among instructional practices in Rochester to move reform forward. Coaching is pretty much the number one focus. However, unfortunately, at the level of the school, there are still a lot of cultural barriers that are hampered by, I don't want to say lack of vision of administration, but a different focus of administration can make it difficult for coaches to roll out the things that they're trained to do.
Where have you seen the coaching in the school system have the biggest impact?
I do see it have an impact because I myself was a coach. And so I do see that it supports teachers. The job is very difficult. And what coaches do is they make the job, because they become that ear, they become that support, they model, they do all the different things that instructional coaches do. And they really do become significant people for a team of teachers, especially when a coach is assigned to a school. They become a part of the family. They do have to win trust. That takes a minute. But I do find that it's helpful to teachers to know once the trust is established, they can go to Patricia and say, hey, will you come in and watch me do this initiative? They've all been professionally developed and they got the same training. But when it's time to roll things out, a lot of times teachers go, well, I don't know where to start. And that's where the coach comes in.
So what are you currently working on now?
What I am working on now is building a consultancy business for myself. I retired a few years ago and finished my doctoral studies. And so what I'm doing now, I founded Pathmark Innovations, which is what I call my initiative to move out and to coach, hopefully, educational leaders, because I believe I have a message for closing that gap between what policy says and what actually is rolled out and how it's rolled out in schools. So with Pathmark Innovations, I am not limiting myself to schools, but that's pretty much my target niche: school systems, teachers, administrators. But I've done projects in churches and other organizations as well.
Is the coaching program in the Rochester schools unique, or is this becoming more common?
I don't see it as unique. It isn't unique. It follows a model that's pretty much out there. What were historically writing resource teachers pre-coaching era, those became literacy coaches, And from literacy, once the funding ran out for that school reform initiative, these people had all this training to help teachers teach literacy across content areas. Then came collegial coaching, where the coaches then were supposed to help the teachers just to work together more and be assisted by a coach. No particular reform initiative in mind, just coaches being ready for a coach to help them. That's collegial coaching. And they also used a model called, it was a cadre model where the district had picked 5 or 6 teachers and had them work together in schools that had no coach. Some principals decided, I don't want a coach. The district decided, well, at some points in time, you must have the services of a coach. So they had a cadre of people that they set aside to go into the schools that were not, did not have designated coaches.
And can you talk a little bit about your participation in the Institute of Professional Association and how you see that as of value to you as a coach?
Okay. Well, I decided, my first conference was last year. I decided to affiliate at the level of a fellow because the way it was put forth, there were all these resources available to one people who already coach or who are moving into it. And so what I did was I decided to join because it sounded like, because I had just finished my program, and I said, okay, I'm ready now. Where do I go? So I, in looking and doing my homework, I found out about the conference. I literally found out about the conference online, literally. And I thought about it, and I just felt that it was something that I should do for myself. And so coming to Harvard, a Harvard, I guess, sponsored coaching conference, I thought would be a way for me to network with people who are already established. It sounded like the researchers, these are like the people who do the research. It met every expectation that I had and beyond. It was the most high energy conference that, and I go to a lot of conferences. I'm one of those people, I kind of enjoy the, rubbing shoulders and talking with people who are also motivated. So I decided to affiliate, and what has happened for me is that I've taken advantage of the learning tours. I've looked at almost everything that's there for leadership, executive, and positive psychology. Jennifer Garvey-Berger did a webinar. I participated in that. I have not participated in a masterclass, but I've looked at them on the website, which is a wonderful resource. And now I'm most pleased that I am developing learning tours. I guess as fellows, we get an opportunity to do that. So I've submitted one, and really I'm working on several others. So I'm pretty pumped about that. When you ask me what I'm doing, it takes a little bit of focus. So I was happy with what I handed in, and I'm getting the word back that they like what I've done. So that's encouraging. I'll keep working on the others. So I'm doing that. I have my website. I'm doing the learning tours. I've done several projects for the church I attend. I've done a seminar on reflection, and I'm also actually facilitating a support group at the Eye Institute, the Flom Eye Institute in Rochester. That's a new project for me as well, and I'm using some of the things that I'm learning in positive psychology, some of those strategies. The appreciative inquiry way of questioning and making things that could be positive, that could be negative, turning them into a positive. And it really does work.
It sounds like you're taking really good advantage of everything that's available. The networking opportunities, the learning opportunities, and the building opportunities. And that's fabulous. I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I love the idea that we can come to a conference and see and hear the people whose books maybe I'm reading, Absolutely. You're reading, and the newest material that's coming on. How do you see your practice developing if you could develop it as an ideal? What would it look like in a couple of years?
In a couple of years, I can see my practice probably involving a couple of other people, a couple of other individuals, 2 to 3. But I'm looking forward that other people may, as opportunity comes, join me as a part of Pathmark Innovations, so that I have a team and so that I am more realistically in a position to take on a more substantive project with a school district as opposed to what you're able to do when you're just one person. So I think that would broaden my potential for being a viable resource to a school district, and so that I do see.
Great. Tell me the name of your website.
It's called pathmarkinnovations.com.
Okay.
And there was something else that, I am also looking forward to publishing a summary of my dissertation. I have that ready to submit to, I'm going to forget the name of the journal. It's the one that they gave us copies of at the conference last year. So whatever the name of that journal is. Yes. So I'm looking forward to doing that, to seeing my dissertation published.
Well, and then from there, I would assume that you'll find other people who are working, other coaches who are working in similar settings, right. And it builds community. One
of the things that draws my attention when I hear people say at the conference that their background is education, because one of the observations that I have passed on is that I'm here as an educator and I'm looking for other models of myself. In networking, I noticed that many people, they come from different backgrounds into coaching. They come from pharmaceuticals, they come from other types of, and they come into coaching. I met several doctors who are adding coaching or have added it to their practice. And it's a wonderful model, so I enjoy that as well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.